The Roblox story game trend died out rather quickly, but some games became very popular. So today, with Field Trip C happening, I want to rank the 50 most popular Roblox story games from worst to best. I rank them based on replayability, story, features, and design. By the way, if you wonder why I sound different, it's because I have a new microphone. So let's begin with the worst. High School is one of the first camping clones and there's 94 million visits and the game is not good. First of all, the Halloween decorations are still here. If the game is so popular, just update it. The design is okay, but it's a little ugly. The story is generic camping game, you go to some place and everything is normal, then something tries to kill you and you run. The part where the monster is chasing you is so terrible. You can't see anything and the monster can kill you in one blow, and he's faster than you. So what's the point? Then you have to find a key, which is very difficult if you don't know where it is, because it's super dark. You run to the gym and it's super easy to die. Then the game goes on for a bit, has an obby, and ends with a tease. What my point is that the game is so hard, has a very generic story, and it doesn't look good, and it's not replayable. There aren't even unique endings. To sum it up, the game is not good, and it doesn't deserve this popularity. Vacation is a game that takes place on a plane. The story is just that you crash and there's a monster there. The island is so tiny and non-original, I would rather die from the plane crash that happens than go back there again. Also, the game seems kinda like a ripoff of Airplane. The games are different, except the start with the plane, which is almost the same. First of all, if you wonder, yes, the game came out after Airplane. Also, it says that the game was inspired by Airplane, but look at this. The plane looks exactly the same. You are able to say it, but having almost half the game the same is not fair. The monster even appears on the same wing. That's not important, just a tiny detail. The design is fine on the plane, but it doesn't count because of it being the same as Airplane. And the island doesn't look good. It has a main ending and 4 secret endings, I guess, so it makes it replayable. But you still have to go through the not so good parts of the game. The game is fine, and it's better because it's easier than High School. Field Trip is one of the best first story games. Its design is very good actually. The jokes are good and the game is actually really replayable because of the many badges. The story starts simple, but later you go to Egypt. The game is very easy to win except the maze at the end, which is very hard because of it being so dark. The story starts with you going to a museum and you go to a new place where an old artifact is placed. A creature tries to kill you and you go to bed. Then the power goes out and you turn it on and friends get kidnapped. Later, the creature sends you to a pyramid and you have to return the artifact. The game looks nice, the story is fun, and I like the game. Daycare was made by the people who made Vacation, and this game is actually pretty good. The story drags on for a bit too long. It's 3 endings, but you can get 2 in one go. To quickly sum up the story, you go to a dare cave, monster appears, you escape, survive the woods, someone gets kidnapped, and you rather kill the monster or the monster gets killed by an angel of the lady who took care of us? When the monster is killed, it turns out it was still alive and disappears. This is not subtle or surprising. In Airplane 2, Ronald blinks for almost a second, and that's something you won't notice until you look closer. Also in story games, when people are told there's a monster, they don't believe them at all and think they're crazy. I hate this trope so much, because in the games, 16 people are telling you something is wrong. I think you should believe them. I don't get annoyed by this trope in Daycare, luckily, because if a few toddlers told you there was a monster in the building, of course you wouldn't believe them. The game is good, but I wish it was shorter. Hotel Stories is a game with 2 parts. Basement and Alien. Basement starts off pretty compelling with there being a murder. Then a random person gets killed, which is annoying if you're alone. Then the walls close in faster than the speed of light and you go in an elevator. Then you get a terrible jump scare and you get killed if you walk in the elevator. Then there's a maze, a spider boss fight, and the stupid wall with 1002 HP. You deal 8 health with your gun, and if you're alone, you must hit the wall over 125 times. And you also must reload your gun every 10 shots. This is so annoying and it takes a lot of time. Then you do an obstacle course, which is actually good and unique. Compared to the other story games that have an obstacle course, they're almost always the same, but this one has some unique obstacles and a unique setting. Then we meet the not scary at all monster again, and we do an easy boss fight. The potential was high for this, but then it became just a normal camping copy. It's still better than the others, but what about the alien story? It's fine, better than the Area 51 game. I like games that has 2 parts, but I wish it followed up their original more. The game has a creepy atmosphere, it's a little replayable, and it's very hard. Airplane 3 was a pretty hyped up game, and me and my sister was super excited. But after I played the game, I realized, wow, this was boring. The dialogue drags on for too long and it takes a very long while to do. It's a prequel to Airplane and it's all military based. It starts with the captain giving you an explanation to what's happening and I wish you could skip it. You get down to the main area and you must fuel the plane, which takes a very long time. Then you sit on the plane and you go. Then you encounter a skeleton demon and you get to the hostage plane. Then the game becomes very good actually. The ending section was the best part of the game. It's very intense and fun. The game has few endings and the design is very good. The game isn't that good, but I have a lot of respect for the Airplane series. The original camping series. There are 4 games and I love all of them. But which one is least packed with quality? I'm going with Mansion. Mansion has a pretty slow start, but when it gets to the mansion, it becomes very creepy. It was mostly made for lore and Halloween just to explain what the heck was up with that monster from the hotel. It starts out with you being in the neighborhood and Jack Logan then invites you to a party. You accept the invite and the next night you drive to the mansion. It has a really creepy atmosphere and the music helps it. Then it turned out that Jack was stacked this entire time. And he chases you, encounter a demon, you do an obstacle course, spooky spiders, and a maze. Then Jack decides to commit the not legal act of murder on you. The game's design was very good and the lore fits in and it was needed. Sadly not replayable at all because there's only one ending where you escape and you die. I like the game but it's the least good in the camping series. Airplane is one of the best story game franchises to come of camping. And Airplane was an amazing start. It starts with you on the plane and you go to sleep, a monster appears which sends in snakes for some reason to kill you. You walk into the bathroom and discuss what's happening. Then you lose oxygen and then you see the crew are unconscious and the captain. Then you stop the plane from crashing and the game ends. The story is very compelling and I love the setting. I wish the monster looked a bit more different, but it's also an early game, so I can excuse that. It has many endings and I love playing it. I'm so happy this was the first camping-inspired game to get a high-quality trilogy. The original game that started it all. Camping is a very good game. It's the original, how can you not love it? I like the forest and the story is amazing. The second I found out about the plot twist and the ending, I was like, I love the endings, jump scares and lots of more. It can be very difficult, especially the fact that you can't regenerate health unless you buy a med kit. The section where you must grab the sandwiches is dumb because you almost need an umbrella to not almost die. The game's story starts with you going to a camping spot, there being night, a monster appears, you walk into the cave, a deer dies, you get food, someone dies, you escape the cave, someone gets kidnapped. Then the monster appears and he dies. Trust me, that's what happens. I love the game and it's so fun, but I wish there was more scares and the stupid bear section didn't exist. I don't like the graphics and I think they're a little outdated, but come on, this was the first story game and it came out in 2018. I wish the game was remastered, it would make it better, but I still love it. Hotel is another game in the camping series which discusses what the heck the sun was about. I love that the game was in a new setting which made it so much better. I love the music, the design and the story. The things that happens is that you basically just go to bed, spooky stuff happen, monster comes out, you meet the family, you go to a hellish floor, which I still don't understand what's up with. You meet a dead girl, you do an obstacle course, you do a maze, and then there's a boss fight. Then there are 2 endings, one where you get saved, another one where you die. There's also a secret ending though. The game looks very nice and the story goes on at a very nice pace. I love how it goes off the normal format and introduces boss fights to story games. I love it and it's one of my favorites. Airplane 2 is a sequel to the original cult classic movie Airplane and a prequel to the movie Airplane Mode by Logan Paul. Okay, Airplane 2 takes place on the president's private plane and Ronald McDonald returns to haunt us. It goes like this: you navigate through the plane, you go to sleep, you get attacked, the floor is lava challenge, you get a gun and you kill someone. I love the design of the plane and the layout. At the start where you navigate through the plane, it's so fun because of the little things and each room being unique to each other. There are 3 endings that are very fun and I especially like the good ending because it's so subtle that you can see the monster survive. It's a good sequel, but I like 1 a little better. Camping 2 is the best game of the original camping series in my opinion. People might choose Hotel over this, but I still like this one the most. Out of all the original camping games, I think Camping 2 is the most polished and nice. It has a much better version of Specky Woods and I love the layout. It just does everything better in every way. The villain is just amazing and my favorite of all the camping games. Zach Nolan is just super scary and menacing. I love it. I also love that the choice of the ending is in the middle of the game. I wish the start was skipped because it drags on for a while, though I love the mirror scene because it's the scariest thing in camping. The game only has 3 endings, so it's not that replayable, but I still love just revisiting the game occasionally to play around. I love everything the game has to offer and it's super fun. Serkis Trip is the longest story game and the scariest. It includes some of the scariest scenes and characters in any story game. I love how subtly things change if you do something wrong. Like an example, if you go by the bear traps carefully, a guide will appear and will help you. But if you step on a bear trap and the wolves get aggravated, the guy dies. I love the facial expressions, the humor, and the design. I can't believe how you make a super long Roblox game and it still be amazing. The game may seem boring because of its length, but I never got bored with its amazing dialogue and writing. I just want you to see the picture of the antagonist and tell me if it's not creepy. Because it is creepy. The villain also has an amazing voice actor that sells the role so well. I still can't believe how they made such a game. I like that at the end of the game, if you die, you just don't get an instant game over. You actually get an ending for it. It's not replayable because there's only 1 ending, but I still love playing it and finding new details on every playthrough. It's such an amazing experience that deserves more than only 50 million visits. Come on, this game got more popular than it. How? I'm so excited for the sequel, and if you haven't already, please play the game. Breakin is phenomenal. I'll remember to keep this section short because I've already made a review on the game. Breakin is probably the most replayable story game of all time with 18 badges / quests with 3 endings. It is so much to do and is so interactive. In my review, I give it a 9 out of 10, which no. It is replayability, phenomenal design, amazing gameplay, and the story became better the longer it went on, especially with the final ending. Everyone has played it, and if you want more thoughts, please consider watching my review. It's in the top right corner. Field Trip C is the best story game. I just can't believe how no one made a zombie game yet. And this makes it wonders. I love the characters, how different the story can go on, and it's so replayable. There are so many different quests to do, and some of them are so hard, but that's what makes them fun. The design is wondrous, and I love all the tiny details in the game and how nice it looks. I can't believe they're still updating the game and how fun it is. You've probably played it, but if you haven't, please consider. Thank you so much for watching this video and I hope you enjoyed. Tell me what's your favorites in the comments below and consider subscribing because only 90% of you who are watching are subscribed. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.